now.
Hey everybody, it's Edie and welcome to Mixed Mediology Vlogishness. That's right, today's video is a vlog, so grab a cup of your favorite witch's brew and hang around for a spell. So, I am in a Facebook group called YouTube Pagans, and it's what it sounds like. It's a group of YouTubers who are all pagan, and there is a thing in the group called the YouTube Pagan Challenge, and it's a 52-week list of questions, and each week you answer one question on your YouTube channel. So if you've been following me, you know I just let go of my old YouTube channel. Today's the 3rd of February or something like that, and I haven't done any of the challenge questions yet because I was closing down my old YouTube channel and I didn't want to put the Pagan Challenge questions on the old channel. I wanted them all here. So I have a couple to catch up on, and I'm going to try to do, I think I'm 4 behind, so I'm going to maybe do 2 in one session, but it depends on how long I talk, and it might end up being 4 separate videos. Anyway, so there's 52 questions. And question number 1 is, how did you find your path? It's a long time a-coming, really. I'm an eclectic pagan. I don't follow any specific path, but I have created my own path. And it came from lots of different experiences, lots of different events in my life that kind of led me to where I am today. So I always knew that Christianity was not for me. Excuse me, I'm getting over a respiratory infection, so forgive me if I clear my throat or cough. Yeah, so I knew that Christianity was not for me. My parents were Christian, but they weren't like practicing Christians. Neither one of them ever went to church or anything. Nobody in my family ever really went to church. But it was implied that you were Christian because you were supposed to be Christian, and that's just how it was. You just believe in God just because. And I knew that that was never really, I always questioned that, even as a little kid. And I remember being like 5 or 6 years old, and my parents would send me to Sunday school. They didn't go to church. They would just put me on the bus and send me to Sunday school. And I'd be sitting there making the craft, you know, like the little cross with the stickers and the notification on my phone. Sorry. So yeah, I'd be sitting in Sunday school and like making the craft or whatever we were doing, and I'd be like, oh, this is cool, I get to put stickers on stuff, or oh, I get to color a page, but it never meant anything to me. And I know like a lot of kids it probably doesn't mean anything to them, but for me, I just knew that I was there just for the fun. Like I wasn't there for church. So I always knew, even as a young kid, that yeah, church was not for me. Then when and I always had this pull to Halloween. Obviously I love Halloween, but there was always something more to it. There was always like this magical something about Halloween that I didn't understand. Then when I was about, I guess maybe 15 or 16, I was at the mall with a group of friends, and we were in a bookstore, and we stumbled onto the occult section. And I grew up in South Carolina, and so the occult section at that time was not just like out in the open. It was like seriously in the back corner of the bookstore, like away from everything else. You had to want to go back there to find the occult section. So we ended up in the occult section, and I found these 2 books. And they were the fluffiest fucking witchcraft books you can imagine. Seriously, I think one of them had a pink glitter cover and the other one had a purple glitter cover. And it was a set of 2 books together. And it was like the fluffiest fucking books you can imagine. But I was like, witchcraft, spell. And it was just little spell books. They weren't anything serious. They weren't anything educational by any means. And they were just like spelled like love spells, and you know, it was like the most ridiculous shit ever. But I was like, witchcraft. you know, and I got this little tingle. And so I bought the books. And I had the books for months. And I kept them hidden in my closet because I didn't want my mom or dad to find them. And I would only like look at them in secret, you know, like at night with the lights off, under the bed, under the covers with the flashlight. Not really, but you know, like it was that kind of thing. I never pulled them out or talked to anybody about them. So I had them out one day, and I had left my bedroom, and I left my door open, and then my dad calls me into my bedroom, and I had the books out, and I had left them out on my bed while I was not in my room with the door open. And he found them, and he was so pissed off and freaked the fuck out. He was like, "You better get these out of here right now. They're evil." And he went off on a tangent. Now, interesting little note. My great-grandmother is a full-blooded Cherokee princess, and I think my dad was pagan. He just didn't know it. He definitely had Native American traditions, and my dad's the one that taught me my first spell. He just didn't know it or want to accept it, but he was damn sure not going to have any fucking witchcraft books in his house. So, he made me get rid of the books. Like, throw them out immediately. So that was my first experience with witchcraft and spellcraft. So yeah, I think my dad was pagan. He just didn't want to admit it. And he never went to church, but he said he could commune with God on his own terms. And he could go outside and take a walk and commune with God if he wanted to, or be sitting in his living room. He never felt the need to go to church. And my next experience with kind of witchcraft was, I was probably, I don't know, 17, 18 years old. I was living on my own. I had already moved out of my parents' house. I must have been 17 because I was in my first house. So I was like 17 years old, and I was working at this restaurant as a waitress, and one of my customers came in and said, she was doing something at the table, and she was making something, and I asked her what it was, and it was a dream catcher. Now, I grew up in South Carolina, and shit like that is taboo. If you're not going to church, you going to hell. Where I'm from, if you're not Christian, you're evil. So dream catchers, I was like, ooh, what's that? And so she told me a little bit about it, and she asked me if I wanted her to make me one. And I was like, sure. So along with my tip, she left me a dream catcher. She let me pick the beads and, you know, whatever, and then she did her thing and made me a dream catcher. The fucking thing was evil. I don't know what was in it. I don't know. To this day, I don't like dream catchers because that fucking thing was evil. From the moment I got it, it was like bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. Like my dog died, I got a shitty roommate, and it was just like horrible. And I was trying to get rid of this dream catcher. I threw it away like 3 or 4 times, and it kept coming back to my doorstep. And I told my dad about it, who, you know, doesn't believe in witchcraft or anything, and he gave me a spell. He didn't call it a spell, but he told me, you know, you have to like spin around 3 times and throw it over your shoulder and never look back, and it has to be in a certain direction, and you know, like, he knew the details about how to get rid of this fucking thing, and it worked. And so that, I was just like, that's magic. There was some magic in that. So that, there was always like that spark there. And I visited all kinds of churches. I went to friends' churches. I went to different family members' churches. I've been baptized twice, and it just, like, it never meant anything to me. So I completely went away from church. I had some really bad experiences in churches with church people, and I just did not agree with it at all. I saw some really fucked up and crazy shit in some churches, just as a visitor, because I was never part of a church, but just as a visitor. Like, I went in as a visitor with some friends of mine, and the preacher stand up at the front of the church, and he's like, do we have any visitors today? And my friend raises my hand, and they call all the visitors up on the stage and baptize us. I've never stepped foot in this fucking church before. They don't know anything about my faith or what I believe or anything, but they fucking baptized me as a visitor. Another church that I went to, like, the people were speaking in tongues and flopping all over the floor. It was a Pentecostal holiness church, and I was just freaked the fuck out. And I just saw like several people literally get brainwashed from it. So I knew it was not for me. So I stepped completely away from church for a long time. And then, you know, life happens and things happen. And as I got a little older, my son was a baby. Christopher was probably, I don't know, maybe he had just been born. But I realized that I wanted something, that there was something that was missing, or not missing, but, you know, like, I knew there was something that I needed to be investigating. And I knew for a fact it was not Christianity. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't have words for it. I had never even heard the word pagan. But I knew there was something. And so, Christopher was about 6 months old, and we had this family friend who was Catholic. And the subject of religion came up one day, and we were just talking, and she had studied religion, several different religions. And she chose to be Catholic. She was raised Catholic, but she had gotten away from it, and she was studying other things, and she chose to go back to Catholicism. And just in a conversation one day, we were talking about religion, and she was asking me different things, and I was answering certain questions, and she's like, dude, you're fucking pagan. And I'm like, I'm what? She's like, yeah, you're pagan. And so I had no idea what that meant. And that led me to then start researching the word pagan and what it meant, which then obviously you research pagan and everything's going to come up. Druidism, Wicca, fucking shamanism, everything started like opening up to me. And so I would just start reading and learning and researching and reading books and looking things up online, and things would click. And you know, I've heard so many people say this, but like when they found paganism for the first time, it was like coming home. And that's really what it was. It was like, oh, yes, that's the words for what I've been thinking and feeling. I just I never had words for it before. So that's kind of how I discovered my path. And like I said, I'm an eclectic pagan. There are certain things from different traditions that I take and that I use and that are part of my practice, and then there's a lot of it that I don't follow, so that's why I don't have a specific tradition that I follow. And I've really developed my own practice. So yeah, that's it. Let me see what the other question was, and I'll see if I can answer. I wrote a little note and hid it up here. And now I'm like, I'm busting myself because I'm on. Okay, so speaking of busting myself, are you in or out of the closet? Am I in or out of the spiritual closet? Dude, I'm totally fucking out of the closet. I've never hid the fact that I was pagan. If anybody asked me, I straight up answered them. I have no problem talking about it. I'm totally open. I'm willing to answer questions if people are open to the conversation. You know, I'm open, wide open. However, I never wanted to make it part of my business, or, you know, like, I kind of share a little bit here and there here on my YouTube channel and like on Facebook or Instagram, or every once in a while I'll share a little something, but I wasn't like shouting from the rooftops, hey, I'm pagan, you know, I never did any of that. But I'm totally wide open, and I always have been. Ever since I had the words for it, even before I had the words for it, I was totally open, saying, yeah, that's not for me. This is what I think, but I don't know how to explain it to people. Even before I had words for it, I was totally open to expressing it if someone asked me. But it's not like I walk around wearing t-shirts that say, well, actually I do. I do walk around with t-shirts that say I'm a witch, but I think people chalk that up to my love of Halloween. But I literally do have those shirts. So yeah, it's just, I've never hidden the fact, and I'm always open to conversation. So no, I'm not in the spiritual closet. My closet is wide open and all my drawers hanging out. So that is that. That is questions number 1 and 2 for the YouTube Pagan Challenge, and there are 52 questions, so you get to look forward to these one a week. So yay! I'm actually excited about this. This is kind of the stuff that I've wanted to share and haven't, because I was afraid it was going to affect my business, or, you know, people wanting to work with me or hang with me. So I've kind of just kept it separate. But I'm so excited. I'm really excited to answer these questions. And some of them might be a little bit too personal, and I'll tweak them. Or just, I'll skip those. Whatever. But I'm really looking forward to this. I'm so excited. And I'm loving my new space. I still haven't changed my altar because, you know, the last video I just recorded 5 minutes ago. So it still looks exactly the same. But I love this new space. I love it. I hope you enjoyed this video and the YouTube Pagan Challenge questions. I'll be answering the rest of those one a week as the weeks go by. I don't know what day I'll release those videos. Depends on if I have anything else coming out that week or not. Yeah. So if you are a YouTuber and you are pagan, then find the YouTube Pagan Challenge group on Facebook. And then you can hashtag YouTube Pagan Challenge, answer your own questions so that we can all hang out and get to know each other better and share our practices and thoughts and magicalness of stuff. Remember, if you like what I do here, don't forget to hit that little subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. And then share it with all of your friends. That way they can hang out with us too. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook a lot. Also Facebook group, the Mixed Mediology Clubhouse, the Mixed Mediology group on Facebook. You can find me in all those places and hang out with me there. I put a lot of shit on there. Like, I'll put some random shit and people are constantly like, I love these posts because they're so funny. So make sure you follow me on Facebook and Instagram and find me in the Mixed Mediology group. And that way you can participate in swaps and get Mixed Mediology Clubhouse exclusives. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Mwah! Bye!